Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Star Trek Insurrection, if I pronounced that correctly. And this movie is directed by Jonathan Frakes, and it came out in 1998. And it's a sequel to Star Trek First Contact, and it's the same director as that movie. And same returning cast, reprising their roles, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. And the things that I liked about this movie are also found in the previous movie, First Contact. I like how this movie is shot. Technically, it's a very well put together film, and the practical effects in this movie look really good, and even the visual effects look great at times. And I liked the action scenes in this film. I thought that they were a standout in the film, and the characters and ideas that were presented in this movie were interesting. Things that really stood out to me as like, oh, that's kind of memorable, even if it's blatant and not very subtle at all. It's there at least, and it's something to chew on. I like where the plot went overall. It's kind of like a mystery that's slowly revealing itself as the film goes along. And it's interesting to watch for me personally. And I never felt as though any of the payoffs were disappointing. I was like, okay, that works for me. And as far as the villains go in the movie, you understand where they're coming from, and they're not poorly written characters, but for me personally, I just didn't really find them intimidating or that interesting. They were in the film, and they were just there to move the plot along, and I liked where the story went, and without them, the movie would be pretty boring, but as far as making me feel intimidated, like nowhere near as intimidating as the Borg was in Star Trek First Contact. The pacing for this movie is great. There's very little wasted time in this movie, and there's plenty of exciting scenes in this movie to keep me entertained throughout the runtime of the film. And I guess one difference between this movie and First Contact would be that I wasn't as emotionally invested in this movie as I was in the previous film. And that's not to say that I didn't connect with anything in this movie, because I did. But the difference here being is that I found both the villains to be really great and the characters to be very well written. The protagonists and the villains and the story all had their hooks, whereas this movie, I liked the protagonists, I liked what they were exploring and the ideas that were presented to them. But I feel as though this movie has the same things as the previous film did, but just a few less ingredients to put into it, and now you have this movie, and some things from the previous movie just didn't work for me as well in this movie, like the villains didn't work nearly as well in this movie, and the plot, while entertaining, not nearly as engaging for me in this movie. But one difference here is that when we were off the USS Enterprise, or whatever it's called. At this point, I keep forgetting. Like the updated version of the USS Enterprise. I didn't find the scenes to be taking place off of that ship to be kind of lacking for me, because that's where the story was going, and it was all connected, and it didn't feel like two different stories going on at the same time. Not to say that they were both boring, or like one was really bad and the other was really great. I'm just saying that one was really great for me and one was just, yeah, that's happening. But in this movie, it's just all equal and thoroughly entertaining, but not emotionally engaging, if that makes sense. Like, I feel as though there's a clear difference for me personally in terms of my own personal experience between being thoroughly entertained and being emotionally attached. And that's really the big difference between those two movies. But still, overall, despite my criticisms, I would recommend that you check this movie out. And apparently this is a Star Trek movie that's not as liked as the other ones, but I personally found more to enjoy about it than a lot of the previous movies. Like even some that people do like the fourth movie I just found to be really boring. 3 is okay, 5 is awful, the first movie is pretty dull for me. Star Trek Generations was kind of dull, and this one is better than that, for sure. I was entertained, and it had at the very least, the bare minimum of what I need from a Star Trek movie for me to say, yep, that's good. So definitely check this movie out whenever you get the chance. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Star Trek Insurrection a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Star Trek Insurrection, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll soon when I get my next review up, and there's going to be for Star Trek Nemesis. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.